we're back. Took way too long, but we're back anyway. And I came back to a game that I thought was going to be terrible. Well, not really. I was hoping for a better result earlier on because I was in class and I missed the first period of this game. But clearly I didn't miss much because this game was bad for the Wild for the most part. Okay? Wild obviously win this one 3-1 against the New York Islanders. But it didn't always look like it was going to be sunshine and rainbows at the end. This game looked brutal from Minnesota, mainly defensively. I kept hearing Lou Nan on the broadcast, Minnesota Wild broadcast, every single time, kind of say that the Wild were getting beaten to the puck. They just didn't show up. They were struggling to get into the zone. It was just looking bad. And literally the moment I came back was the Islanders' first goal, and it wasn't a good one. It turned out being their only goal of the night. And for a team that dominated most of the night, it's weird how this was the only one that went in. It was a goal from Scott Mayfield, his 5th of the season, assisted by Martin, his 8th assist. Romanov gets his 13th assist. Happened 16:49 into the first period. Basically, it's just a bouncing puck from the blue line. All Mayfield does, just shoots it, hoping to get in. It takes a funny bounce right in the middle of the broadcast didn't show it very well because they always use top-down views, but this one just bounced around and went far post right past Philip Gustafsson. So it's a tough goal to give up, but I don't really blame Gusty for that. Even though, again, it's a bouncing puck and he should have it because he wasn't screened, it's rough. It's just a rough goal to give up. And just like that, Islanders are up 1-0 with like 4 minutes left. But Minnesota gets its first power play of the night when Mayfield takes a hooking penalty. They get nothing on that. I also kind of forgot that Zach Parise plays for the Islanders. Didn't really hit my mind until I heard his name on the broadcast. So kind of shook back a couple core memories there. But by the end of the first, and I was just copying what Lou Nan said, basically, Wild are getting beat to the puck, and we just need to care a little bit more. Second period, it kind of seems like they're doing better, but they're also doing worse, if that makes sense. I'll explain. So in the second period, the Wild get another power play. Nelson gets an interference penalty because of a great forecheck by Minnesota, but they overpass. Zuccarello, Boldy, Kaprizov, multiple times they could have just taken a few shots on the net to get Sorokin a little phased. Wasn't phased at all because the Wild just kept passing and passing and passing. And when they finally did shoot, it wasn't a good shot. So second power play doesn't do anything. Wild get another power play, again from a good forecheck that causes the Islanders to take penalties. The Islanders crowd's getting pissed at this point because that's 2 penalties in quick succession. But still, nothing happens. And even worse, the Islanders end up getting a penalty or a power play because Steele tripped somebody in the zone, so it's 4-on-4 for 24 seconds. And I wrote here, power play is bad. They're just passing too much and they need to shoot. That's the problem. So the Islanders kill off the Minnesota penalty, but Minnesota's able to kill off the Islanders penalty, and we're back to 5-on-5. And again, because of the Islanders penalty kill, or actually because of Minnesota's penalty getting killed, they still have their same power play unit on the ice, or their 4-on-4 unit. That stayed out there the whole time, and the Islanders just kept peppering the shit out of Gustafsson continuously. Multiple shots, quick passes. It looked dangerous. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't score on that. To think, 3-1, their only goal came from a bouncer in the first period. If they were going to score, they should have scored on that second power play that they had because they were rolling, absolutely dominating on that power play. We're lucky we didn't get scored on, frankly. And again, I wrote down, Minnesota is getting beat to the puck routinely. That time they were tired guys on the ice, but still, it seemed to be the theme for the second period. But then the Wild, again, given more chances. Another penalty for the Islanders. Romanov has a delay of game penalty because he just throws it up into the crowd. So I wrote down, please score, please. But eventually, with 51 seconds left, Zuccarello and Clutterbuck get tangled up in front of the Islanders bench, and so both of them go to the box. It's still 5-on-4. I thought it was going to be 4-on-3. Turns out, nope, 5-on-4. Just get them out there. And the Wild still can't do anything. And I wrote down, even Lou thinks we should shoot more. And I mean, he's not wrong. He's really not wrong. All you gotta do is shoot and just pressure to the puck. Because that forecheck was looking good early in the second. But we didn't shoot. We just... And I know what a bunch of hockey players are thinking. I've felt that same way before. When everybody in the crowd screams, shoot! At the same time. And it's the video, I don't know where it was from, but it's a video of the one guy who's just standing there peacefully. The puck is in front of the net, and he's just like, sometimes I don't know what to do when I have the puck in front of the net. But then, I'm glad you remind me, from the crowd, screaming, just to shoot the puck. It's like that, only we're right, because you don't shoot. At the very least, like, a shot is never your worst option. It may not be your best, but it's definitely not your worst. Okay, your worst is often passing way too much, having it get picked off, go the other way, 2-on-1 in the back of the net. Just shoot! Why not? Pucks take weird bounces anyway. How did the Islanders get their first one? A weird bounce that Mayfield didn't expect to score on. If you think he did, you're lying. But that eventually leads us all the way to the end of the second period. Minnesota gets frustrated. They eventually get good pressure. They get their closest chance of the night with 4:30 left to go in the second period. But again, nothing comes of it. By this point, we are 0 for 4 on the power play, and we just won't shoot. We won't shoot, and we're getting beat to the puck. So then you hope for the third period. You hope something finally gives. And luckily, it does. Finally, with 8... Well, let me rephrase that. It gives in the way that Minnesota's caring a little bit more. They're actually pressuring to the puck a little more than they did in the second and the first. They have a very, very close opportunity with 18:46 left to go in the game clock, and where the puck is seemingly sitting in front of Sorokin. Multiple bodies come flying in. Somehow it squirts back out the other way. Nothing ends up happening there, but it's just, we're close. We're definitely close. And if that wasn't enough, we get a 5th power play. Mayfield gets to delay a game in one of the stranger ways in which he just purposely knocks the net off its moorings. So they just say, yep, can't do that. Go to the box. So now the Islanders fans are just so irritated by this point because 5 power plays have been called against them. But they're all penalties. So fans are going to be pissed. So of course they will be. And I wrote down something that was very interesting when I saw that when they put it up on the Wild graphics. Sorokin had made 17 saves in the second period alone. He had made 7 in the first, 17 in the second. 17. Most of that was off of... Well, actually, most of that wasn't off the power play, which is weird. Because we only had 4 shots on the power play by that point. It was just... A power play was bad. That's all I'm really trying to say. The power play was awful for Minnesota. And it didn't score here either. It was still 0 for 5. That's how brutal it was in this game. And to make matters worse, Brodin takes a hooking penalty. So now the Islanders have a chance to score. And again, they look dangerous on the power play. And I wrote Minnesota looks uninterested. Because they just look slow and methodical. They hadn't had a moment in the game yet where they just woke up. That didn't come yet. Until 9:03 left in the third period. It was an absurd save by Ilya Sorokin. Almost, I'd say save of the year, if it was one. Let me explain. So, it's a 2-on-1 shorthanded for Minnesota with Eriksson Ek and Freddie Gaudreau. Eriksson Ek able to get the puck over to Gaudreau, back door, literally as if this is the post right here. Sorokin just barely able to get the puck out. It flies out into the air, and the whole arena is like, what just happened? How did that stay out? That is absurd. Eventually, play stops, but they do look at it again, and they realize that, sure, Sorokin was able to push it out, but not completely, as the puck was past the line when his glove hit the post. So, like, the puck is just sitting right here inside of the net while his glove comes in, and because of that force, that's why it flies out and up into the air. And that that did it for Minnesota. They get that goal, that weird, strange goal by Freddie Gaudreau, and then I think a minute 33 later, let me just check that real quick. From what I have in my notes, a minute 33 later, Minnesota makes it 2-1. Before that, though, by the way, that was Minnesota's 7th shorthanded goal of the season with Gaudreau. 8:02, sandwiched in between those two goals, a linesman ends up catching a puck up high. He was fine, but he just took a tumble to the ice. And of course, Isles fans cheer, which obviously don't do. Okay? Don't do. You could say they were fed up with the amount of calls, but come on. Like, your team should be better than that. Do not wish for a linesman to get hurt. Sure, you may have had 5 penalties in this game, but that's on you. And I know some of the penalties can be iffy at times, but all 5 of these look clean to me. I say that with a winning sweater. I get that. At the end of the day, just don't boo anyone getting hurt. That's just common, basic human decency. So don't do that. But then, after he gets up, he's fine. We return to play, and then Minnesota gets another one. It's 2-1 now in a game where it looked like Minnesota was dead in the water. All of a sudden, Minnesota has just come to life, and they are now in the lead for the first time, with Sam Steele getting a goal off a great forecheck from Zuccarello, who gives it to Kaprizov off of a steal. Back to Zuccarello, over to Sam Steele, who goes top shelf near side. 12:28 into the third period. And I wrote, with 6:18 left to go, what a turn of events. Who could have seen this coming? Frankly, I'm just glad it happened because it did not look good for most of the game. But hey, if you win, you win. They also told us that the Kraken were the first team to shut out Boston in their building. First team to give them a regulation loss in their building, and they shut them out while doing it. That's just nuts. 3:15, Foligno thinks he scored, but in reality, he definitely pushed Sorokin's pad over the line, so that one doesn't count. 2:53, Brodin looks like Bambi trying to get to the bench because he loses a skate blade, but is able to get off actually rather athletically, frankly. So that's good. 2:02 left. Islanders pull their goalie, and then Minnesota gets the empty netter. Kaprizov gets his 25th of the season, assisted by Zuccarello, his 26th assist of the season, and Merrill, his 8th of the season, 18:47. A good bounce, bounces right to Zuccarello, who gives it to Kaprizov, and it's easy. It's way too easy. So the Wild win that. They win that after a very, very sloppy game. They end their 3-game skid, and they take 3 out of 4 points in New York. So that's good. That's good. And from the midway point of the season, which I've been trying my best to cover up with, I've had a few things in there, but from the midway point of the season, it looks like the Wild are in pretty good shape right now. We're sitting 3rd in the Central. We have 48 points. We're 3 points ahead of St. Louis. And St. Louis is not in the wild card spot either, so still good. Still rolling. Obviously, we're still trying to catch Dallas and Winnipeg. Winning against Winnipeg was good. Obviously, do more of that. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. But our next game is one that I'm going to have to not stream, but watch from cable from my house in Scottsdale because it's against the Coyotes. It's a home game, so I can't watch it over at Mullet, but as soon as the Wild head down to Mullet, I'm catching that game. I don't know what I'm catching that game. I'll catch the game at Mullet, and I'll provide updates from that arena because it's nicer than people give it credit for. Yes, it's 5,000 seats, but it's close to the action. I don't know what more you want. That's probably the best view you can ever have of an NHL game. So, once the Coyotes come down, or once the Wild come down to play the Coyotes here, I'll be at the game. But again, the next game, Saturday, January 14th at 8 p.m. Central Time. Might want to check your local listings just in case. It's at 6 for me, but I'm Western Time. I think it's 8 p.m. Just check. But yeah, Saturday, January 14th, this Saturday, we play Arizona. By the way, shots in this game were 36-20 in favor of Minnesota. I'd say the shots weren't indicative of the game. They ended up being so later on, but in this one, I don't think shots mattered too much. But yeah, right now the record is 22-14-4 with 48 points. At the midway mark of the season, that's looking pretty good. Looks good enough to get into the playoffs right now, but obviously, if we could pick it up, build some momentum, start to look like a dangerous team instead of a mid team, then that'd be good. So, again, good win for Minnesota to come back and win this after it looked very sloppy. And that's all for me. So, I will talk to you guys later. Like this video if you did like it. If you want to see more, subscribe and let me know what you think. I'll see you later.